Bonjour et bienvenue. Vous reconnaissez le bruit en fond. On va faire du Stanley Parable. La partie 2 sur les 50 fins qu'il y a en tout. J'espère que ça va vous plaire. Que le premier épisode vous a plu aussi.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
Vous m'en voulez pas. Heureux de vous revoir, super. Moi aussi, je suis heureuse de vous revoir.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Du coup, l'histoire, pour ceux qui connaissent pas, on est sur le deuxième épisode. Stanley est dans son taf. Il passe la journée à appuyer sur les boutons et puis d'un coup, plus de nouvelles, plus rien. Et du coup, il va voir ce qui se passe. Plusieurs fins. Et voilà quoi. Si vous n'avez pas vu, allez voir le premier épisode, franchement.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop
On s'est
by the
arrêté sur
employee
une
lounge first, just to admire it.
très bonne ambiance la dernière fois.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Et du coup, là, il faut pas écouter le narrateur, clairement. Je suis dans cette optique-là, vu que j'ai fait la fin principale d'abord. Enfin, j'ai pas fait la fin principale où je disais...
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing, but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley.
Mon job. Tout le monde est très... Ah ok, c'est une fin, je me suis juste éclaté la tête. Super. Mais il y avait un truc, je me suis dit qu'on pouvait y aller, quoi. Rien de plus.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes.
Oui, cette pièce.
Room. What a but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Parce que là, je retourne dans le même endroit, donc je vais vous montrer.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
En fait,
he wasn't fired years ago.
Là, vous voyez le truc là. C'est ouvert. Donc je me suis dit, il y a moyen que... Enfin, vous avez compris quoi. Mais là, vu que je viens de là et qu'on a fait cette... Enfin là, on n'a pas débranché le truc. On va débrancher le truc et après on va faire là. S'il te plaît, arrête de prendre l'édition tout seul. Je fais ce que je veux.
Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. Oh no, 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 no.
Oh non, 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 non. Vous ne pouvez pas. Vous avez vraiment débranché le téléphone. Oui. Vous n'étiez pas censé faire ce choix. Vous avez fait un mauvais choix. C'est pas possible. Laissez-moi vérifier. Et ça là. Mais non.
Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible?
Comment c'est
None of
possible?
these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it.
Je crois que...
Not noticed it sooner.
Oh, je n'ai pas remarqué.
You're a real
Vous n'êtes pas Stanley, la vraie personne.
I can't believe I was so mistaken.
J'arrive pas à croire que j'ai fait une telle erreur.
Make correct and incorrect choices, and to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my
Est-ce qu'il
watch.
parle
I'm
vite?
going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person, but if used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality. Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Je veux clairement prendre la porte de droite en fait.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Bon, je vais devoir prendre la porte. J'ai pas le choix.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Wow. Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé en fait là? Je me suis fait enlever par des extraterrestres ou quoi?
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Porte de droite.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
je vais reprendre la porte de droite.
entered the door
Arrête.
on his left.
Je vais me faire aller à gauche, j'irai pas à la gauche.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh wow. Je fais ça comment? Comme ça? Ah ouais.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
Bon, c'est le même dialogue. Je vais à gauche.
He entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ben, il a plus la même tête.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Il y a un livre.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall. I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, wow.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Pourquoi dans le générique il est marqué désolé à...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh. Nouveau contenu. Nouveau contenu. Oh.
New content.
Nouveau contenu.
What does that mean? New content.
Bonjour et merci de jouer à Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Sans doute pour jouer à Stanley Parable, jeu vidéo sorti en 2013, une version 2022 Ultra Deluxe. Après le succès commercial. Stanley Parable est le nouveau contenu pour le plus grand bonheur des fans du monde entier.
Step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds
Oh, c'est
delightful.
charmant.
I'm very excited to see the thrilling
Les nouveaux
new
contenus
ultra
ultra
deluxe
deluxe.
content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing
Pour un
special
instant.
yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it
Un
broken?
problème.
What's
Qu'est-ce
going
qui se
on
passe
here?
ici?
Should we
On devrait aller quelque
should we
part ou
move
bien...
it somewhere oh, there we go.
Oh, c'est
All right,
parti.
finally, at long last, it's on to the new
Nouveau
content.
contenu
I've never
écrit.
been more ready. Let's do it.
Allons-y. Oui.
I have to say, initial
J'avoue
impressions
maintenant
of
que
Stanley
première
Parable
impression
Ultra Deluxe
du
with
Ultra Deluxe est plutôt pitoyable.
It's as if,
Un peu comme...
let's see
oh,
the
allons-y,
content.
version
Give me the
nouveau
content,
contenu.
Stanley.
Stanley.
All right.
Ah,
All right, let's see it.
voici
The
un
jump
cercle
circle.
pour sauter. Ah, je peux sauter que dans le cercle.
Is that it?
C'est tout.
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness.
Bon sang, un autre ascenseur. Stanley, je dois dire que la première impression de ce contenu n'est pas fameuse. Une section d'ascenseur et on peut appeler ça un contenu.
Then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it?
C'est tout. Vous plaisantez.
Quand les développeurs,
encore développeurs qui ne respectent pas les femmes. Ah ouais, les femmes.
For no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally.
Sur Twitter.
It's my fault, Stanley.
C'est
I
ma
built up
faute.
too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could
J'ai mis la
never
batte
have
trop
lived
haut.
up to
Parce
such
que nouveau contenu, finalement, je vais être
You're still
déçu.
with me. Why don't we just
T'es
reset
toujours
the
là avec
game,
moi.
and we'll
Pour
try to
remplacer
get
le
back
jeu.
to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together
Bueno.
like always. What do you say, friend?
Est-ce que vous voulez, mon ami? Wow. Ça a changé.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show
Dans
you
le vent,
something.
le conduit. Ben, oui, allez. Allons dans le conduit. Je vais tomber là. Ouais.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Oh, wow.
I call it the memory zone.
J'appelle ça la zone des souvenirs. Voici comment conserver mes souvenirs préférés. Enfin, les plus belles expériences en jeu.
Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Après le lancement de Stanley Parable sur portable. sur le PC portable.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Les cartes postales. C'est l'ancien générique, ça, je suppose. Les fameux succès. Qui est un succès bug, et il y a aussi le fameux succès du truc que tout le monde voudrait avoir, c'est... Oh, ça c'est quand le mec c'est... Simple comme bonjour. Tu lances le jeu une fois et tu touches pas pendant 5 ans. Et tu essaies de savoir un succès après. Ah, le mur invisible, ça marche. Une musique en français. Du coup, dans chaque pays, c'est différent.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from
10 sur 10.
Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives, and then
C'est Parable, mais c'était le jeu qui n'a jamais été écrit.
Did you hear that, Stanley?
Dans l'anglais, celui-là, c'est
Every game ever created.
tous les jeux jamais créés.
Grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing.
Aujourd'hui,
It's
ce n'est
no
rien.
games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now, a lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Je peux pas y aller. Les portes. Les boutons. Les deux personnages. Oh.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you
9
think,
sur
Stanley?
10.
The game was perfect.
Ce jeu
It
était
didn't need
parfait.
anything else. It didn't need new content. It just
Sans son
needed to
nom,
be left
nouveau
alone.
contenu. Ah.
To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on.
Attendez,
I don't recall this.
je me souviens
part
pas
of
de
the
cette
memory
zone.
zone before.
La partie des souvenirs. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a là?
Oh no.
Oh non, mon Dieu.
It's a collection of reviews
C'est la
from
collection des
Steam,
critiques sur
the online
Steam.
video game distributor. I haven't
Des
looked
jeux
at
en
these
ligne.
reviews. I
Besoin
can't
de
even
jeux en ligne.
imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh. Honnêtement, ce n'est pas plus la peine de devenir le jeu entièrement. L'acteur est désagréable et pas drôle. Il intervient pour faire des mots pas drôles. C'est vrai que tu fais beaucoup de tunnels.
But the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Steam review. Oh.
Okay, let's see what this
Voyons en voir celui-là.
While the idea for the game is good,
C'est ni une bonne idée, ni à faire.
many games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure, like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say?
Qu'est-ce que ça fait ici? Il est temps d'arrêter de ce que je fais. Le narrateur. J'aurais toujours rêvé d'un bouton pause. Un bouton pause? Eh bien, je crois que c'est possible. Je suis Rémi. Pour qu'il arrête de parler. Si c'est le prix à payer pour avoir des bonnes critiques. Oh wow. Je fais apparaître un bunker comme ça de l'eau. Ok, là. Oui, voyons voir. Voici votre bouton pause. Ok.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking. Oh, you're back, you see.
Te revoilà.
Only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Well, there's sport.
Eh bien, mon ami.
Catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption.
Est-ce que j'appuie, j'attends qu'il finisse de parler ou j'appuie dès que ça me saoule? J'appuie dès que ça me saoule. Ok, ravi de vous revoir. Cependant, en plus, depuis longtemps, ça doit être 30, 45 minutes. Stanley, il s'est passé 12 heures.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my
Ils sont de
God,
plus
there's
en
no way
plus
out
longs.
of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of the... Oh, Stanley. you're back.
Stanley, vous êtes revenu, vous êtes revenu.
My goodness, I have someone
Seigneur.
to talk to again. Stanley, I
Ça fait
think it's been a
une
week
semaine
or 2 weeks.
ou deux,
I've been
peut-être.
sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person.
Je parle trop en même temps. T'arrêterais de parler, on n'aurait pas eu besoin de mettre un bouton.
You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumb. The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end.
Ah, ça c'est ce qui est écrit dans le truc de chargement. La fin n'est jamais, la fin n'est jamais, la fin n'est jamais, la fin. Le truc de chargement, c'est ça qui est. Ah wow. Ah, je me suis demandé si je croyais que c'est un trou. Oh. Oh. Hmm. Oh wow. Si la nature a eu le temps de pousser, c'est que ça fait longtemps quand même. Alors c'est pas un jeu de rap. Je vous assure, même si c'est un peu flippant. Hmm. Eh oui. Le désert, finalement.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh wow. Toujours plus gros.
Oh good, you noticed my sign.
Vous avez remarqué mon panneau?
Very exciting to show you.
Bah, je pouvais pas le louper, surtout ton panneau.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? but the Stanley Parable 2. Now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, then surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around
Wow.
them. It'll all work itself out. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Et je suis plutôt méchante. Du coup, on va se laisser là pour cette fois-ci. J'espère que la vidéo vous a plu. On reprendra après ça. J'espère que la vidéo vous a plu. N'hésitez pas à vous abonner, à liker, à commenter. Moi sur réseau Instagram. Voilà. Instagram, TikTok, Thread, Twitter, notre chaîne YouTube, Twitch. J'espère que cette vidéo vous a plu. Des bisous.